All right, hey everybody, it's Bob again, um, and today I'm going to be doing Elvira In Horrorland number 4. So I'm almost done the complete series. The last one, of course, is number 5, and I'll be doing that as a future episode. Um, so let's get to it. First of all, I think this is my favorite cover so far of the book. I'm just a big Elvira fan. I think she is just extremely beautiful. Beautiful. I've always felt that way. So I like getting the ones that actually have her picture on the front, and I just thought this was a wild picture. Even though we know if we've all seen the movie Mistress of the Dark, there was that scene where she was lying in bed and she has like all this hair behind her, like it's her hair spread out or whatever, and she gets up and that's kind of like just a blanket. It's not her actual hair, and we all know she wears a wig anyway, but that's what I think of when I see this, because I'm like, obviously this is not, her hair or whatever, but it's still an awesome picture and I love it. So basically, she has from the last issue, she was on the Nostromo, or as they called it in the book, Nostrono, uh, doing a parody of Alien when she found the magic remote control of Federico Fellini and hit the button, which then took her into the movie Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, and she appears there, and they're just like, what the hell? Who are you? Where did you come from? Blah blah blah. And she's just like, hey, have you guys seen, magic remote around here? Because that's the theme of this one, as it was with the rest of them. So Freddy starts attacking. She's running away with Nancy. Although everybody gets a different name because they're doing this as a parody. So instead of Freddy, it's Teddy. But they're running through the boiler room and everything, and they jump off the ledge and land in Nancy's garden, which is what Elvira said would take place. But then Nancy's like, come on out, Luger, because of course it's Teddy Luger and not Freddy Krueger, I guess because of copyright issues and such. And, when you're doing a parody, you don't usually use the real names of the characters or whatever. So she jumps Freddy, and Elvira's just like, this girl's kind of plucky or whatever. But she's also realizing that she was in the boiler room with Freddy Krueger, and she did not see the remote around, and usually the remote is wherever the villain's lair is. So she's thinking to herself that that wasn't the villain's lair, and she's going to have to find out where that is. That's the goal in each of these books, is to find out where the villain's lair is, because that's where you're going to find the magic remote that will take her home. So of course they wake up now and they're in Nancy's bed, and they're sitting there making their jokes or whatever, and of course Freddy Luger or Teddy Luger, Freddy Krueger, whoever shows up again. She just calls a timeout, and they're just like, you can't call a timeout. And now she's kind of explaining that, again, we're in a movie, a horror movie, and that's how she knows everything that's going to take place and everything, and asking them again if they've seen a remote. Some of the jokes in this don't land as well as I think it did in other books. For instance, we all know that Freddy Krueger's favorite thing is to call somebody a bitch, right? Rick and Morty did it with Scary Terry. And then here, of course, I guess because this is maybe a PG comic or whatever, calls her you witch. All right, that's fine. I just don't feel it lands as well. But I do think it's kind of funny that we have a lot of different attachments here going on. His hand's more like a Swiss Army knife. Instead of just having the claws, he's got corkscrews and things like that on it. Right? So Nancy, of course, hits Teddy with a coffee pot. They run away into a room where Nancy's got her booby traps set up. And Elvira makes the joke of that'll caulking him good, based on Home Alone. Yeah, I mean, we know that what Home Alone's done and everything. But yeah, again, I don't feel the jokes landed that well in this issue. Even though I thought this was going to be one of the better ones because it was Freddy, I figured this was right up the alley. Elvira thinks that the mother is possibly the villain because she had originally killed Teddy Luger, creating this dream monster that's out to murder the children. So when they go into the mother's room, she's surprised to see there's not even a TV in there. So there's no TV remote. So she's still stuck in this movie. But then she starts saying that because it's a dream universe and such, that she can like dream her way into this other stuff. Now this is where she's like chanting, trying to go into this dream world or whatever, and she says, "Calgon, take me away." Now I'm 50 years old. Okay, so I remember that joke, but I don't know. I guess just people around my age would be the Elvira fans that are buying this comic. So I guess it has to be for us. But I do feel like that is an incredibly dated joke. There were other ways you could have went with something like that. So I think it's wild that they would go that route because I got to be honest with you, like I only remember that as a kid. So you're talking about at least a 40-year-old joke here. But okay. That's fine. Again, I didn't think it played too well here. But she dreams herself into another dream, and I think it changes because we have Nancy here, change clothes and everything. We're in a different location, and her dead father shows up, and of course Elvira's like, no, that's not your dad, that's Teddy Luger. And she says that Teddy Luger is played by Norman Britton, which if we know Nightmare on Elm Street, we know the lead, the actor playing Freddy Krueger is Robert Englund, even though it's not spelled as England, it's England. I guess that was a play on words there or whatever. Okay, that's fine. I feel like they could have just went with England since his name is Englund, because it's near the same, but it's different, but it works closer. But it's fine. And she's saying that he's a bad character actor under a ton of latex. That's the only way he can get his job. And Teddy Luger pops out of this disguise, and she's like, I was only joking about that because I think you're a great actor. I just needed you to show yourself or whatever so that Nancy could see it. And of course, he takes a swipe at her with his claws or whatever. Now in the background here, we can see that again the setting has changed. We went straight over to Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, my personal favorite of all of the Freddy movies. Not that anything really comes from it. Like, they're there, but they never... These characters are there, but they never say anything, There was kind of... Just seems like there was no point to have them in here because, we went from the first movie to the third movie. I can't remember the second too much to know if Nancy even made an appearance in that one. So maybe that's why they did, the skip or whatever. But then Elvira has an idea and says, okay, she knows where the villain's lair is now. So they jump on over to the seventh movie, which was a New Nightmare, where basically they're filming A Nightmare on Elm Street. And so here we have, oh wow, Wes Craven, okay. But I think they're calling him Les Maven in this, okay. I guess that's funny in a way. I don't know, but either way. So she's saying because Les is the guy who created Teddy Luger, that he is in fact the real villain. So they go into his home theater where she finds the remote. And once she finds the remote, let's see, as soon as we, get past this, Freddy shows up again and starts attacking, knocking the remote out of Elvira's hand. They all jump after it, like they're all reaching for it as it slips out of one hand into another, until somebody else snatches it. And we see here is, wow, not so fast, sunshine. And then we see these guys here coming out of this portal. And he's like, hey there, we're going to need you to come with us. And she's just like, I have a lot of questions, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, sorry to butt in, folks, or whatever. And he just grabs Elvira up, takes her away. And Freddy here is crying because he feels the whole movie, everything is, has been ruined. So I'm going to go on record right now as saying I'm not the biggest Marvel fan, especially when it comes to, I mean, so back in the day I read X-Men and Spider-Man. That was my thing. But, I didn't jump into the Marvel Cinematic Universe so much. It wasn't for me. I didn't enjoy a lot of the movies. I enjoyed a lot of the ones in Phase 1, but, it kind of died out for me after that. So I can only assume here, because I've seen, like, previews or pictures or just stuff online, and obviously you can tell that's Owen Wilson. And I was, because of the mustache, I'm thinking that it's a character from one of the Marvel movies or something like that. So this whole thing didn't work out for me. And I guess as a writer, you're thinking, oh, everybody loves the Marvel Cinematic Universe or whatever, so everybody's watched everything. And I didn't. I dropped out of it pretty early because, like, the movies, like, come on. After Phase 1, everything that came out was just the worst. There was, like, no... Avengers 2 was horrible. Iron Man 2 was horrible. Everything was fucking horrible. I enjoyed the Captain America movies, except for the third one, because Civil War, that didn't really work for me either. For a movie with all these superheroes fighting, it was kind of boring. But, big deal. So I'm not getting any of this reference. Now, the only thing I will say is funny is that, on this first page here, we see that the Owen Wilson character says, wow. Okay, so we know that that's a thing that Owen Wilson does. So here, Elvira's like, so where am I? And he says, wow, again. And she's like, yeah, that's like your catchphrase, but seriously, where am I? And he's like, you, my dear, are at WOW headquarters, Watchmen over World Space, okay? So I guess that's just a play on Owen Wilson saying, wow, all the time, because that's, what he does. So I guess, that's kind of funny. But basically, he's telling her that she's not only been, jumping through movies, she's been jumping through time. All of these movies were filmed in different time periods, so we can see that working. But this is also going to comics that took place before this series. So they're explaining, how she had time traveled in some time traveling coffin, but then she also went to hell. I will do those books in the future because honestly, I haven't gotten them. The only other one I have besides this is when she meets Vincent Price, which is actually before this series. But she's just like, these were just movies, so she didn't really, mess anything up. She's thinking, the second that she left the movie just restarted. And Owen Wilson's like, wow, I can't believe you said they were just movies and that they weren't important because things are getting messed up, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, well, I promise not to do it again as long as I can go home. And she snatches the remote from him and hits the button where he screams out, wait, don't do that. And then she appears in one of my favorite movies, The Fly, okay, with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. David Cronenberg's Fly. It's a great movie. I'm going to say this. I didn't think this looked so much like Jeff Goldblum, but that is one dead-on Gina Davis right there. That was some good work. When I looked at that face, I'm just like, wow. I think Gina Davis has a face that translates to comics really well. So, to be funny, it says next issue is Naked Brunch. Instead of saying The Fly, we have David Cronenberg's Naked Lunch. So I guess, just doing a play on words or whatever to switch it up. So I'll be doing that issue in the future. So that was the issue of issue 4. And just so you guys can see here are the alternative covers that they put out for this book. That's a lot of covers, but it's fine. Again, I'm a fan of the real photographs or whatever that were taken of Elvira. So most of the books I have that. But to be honest, I also just kind of grabbed whatever was on the shelf. If they had more than one copy of a different cover or whatever, I grabbed the one that I liked and that was it. So, but that's just to show you some of the, you know, um, alternate covers that they had for the book. All right, guys, so that's the end of this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. But again, my name is Bob, and I'm a comic book artist. I'm currently working on my comic, Ghost Girl, which you can see right here. In the next month or two, this book should be complete, at which time I will be selling it. Or if you were, you know, somebody who joined in on a Kickstarter or whatever, you'll probably be getting a copy of it from that. If this is something, first of all, if you like the video, go ahead and hit like. If this is, you know, if you like the video that you would like to see more, or if you might be interested in the comic that I'm going to be putting out, hit subscribe so that way you'll get information on the comic as it comes out. All right, so again, guys, thanks for watching, and until next time.